Hello, welcome to the 21st day of October 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a daily exercise live video that I do to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. Well, you can buy it if you want to. It's on Amazon and available from my YouTube store and elsewhere. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any noteworthy challenges or opportunities that I met. I think about and I prepare for the coming day. I also go over my creed and to make sure that I'm in alignment. All right. Before I get started, though, I want to say a huge welcome and thank you. Let me adjust this and find the right balance of light. A huge thank you and welcome to new subscribers to the channel, and thank you to my supporters on YouTube, my members on Patreon. I really do appreciate that. All right, let's look at the last 24 hours. So there were two notes here. One is that says a deliberate PEF. PEF stands for peaceful, easy feeling, and it was I'm retired, and it was maybe 4 or 5 months into 6 months maybe into my retirement journey. I began to notice that a kind of a peace was beginning to arrive that was unlike the frenetic, frantic feeling of anxiety and restlessness that attended my working life, those years. Something more to what we imagine we might feel on a vacation, although it was a little different from that. It wasn't like the ease of escape. It was more like the peace that comes after, like my little dog right here. You know, he's resting. He's had a hell of a life. You know, being a stray dog on the streets of Los Angeles, and in a way, he's kind of, you know, I don't know how to say it, broken. You know, I think as anybody that gets to my age, if you've gone through the workaday life, you're kind of broken in a way. Yet, the fact of that, as long as he's been with me, you know, he's got a pretty peaceful life. Just he's safe and fed, and he's loved, and you know that makes a difference over time. That's kind of what the PEF started to feel like, feeling safe. You know, here in my home in Japan, you know, at peace, well fed, and loved. PEF. Didn't know quite what to make of it. It was kind of a species of feeling of an existing that seemed like a rarity, like sighting a rare bird at the beach or something like that. But I had an encounter with it again yesterday. I've been using ChatGPT. I set up a special GPT to help me to wrestle my mind away from the old paradigm of the workaday life. I recognize that closing in on 11 months of retirement, I'm still rising each morning with the frame of mind of the working man. You know, what what efficiencies will I enlist today in pursuit of of achievements that will ensure a better buck and a more stable buck into the bank account, right? You know, so to make sure that my family is safe and secure. You know, how can I best please my employer? In this case, not having an employer, but still after whatever it is that frame of mind lived for so many decades seems to demand. I want to get away from that. I'd like to rise perhaps more like a monk, you know, attending the day, seeing it clearly for what it is. Not if I get up early for better reasons than to work. You see the idea, right? I, I didn't expect PEF to be found in this process. I thought that I would, if anything, liberate myself of the need and the passion of to be efficient all the time, to be so darn efficient all the time. Yet, in my endeavors to do this, working with my custom GPT that I created, it put me on a path that confronted exactly that same PEF feeling that I had stumbled across some months back and had only experienced piecemeal now and again, largely because I didn't know how to resurrect it. I didn't know how to change. But the changes that the ChatGPT session suggested in me brought that about. The agent helped me to create a space here in my room and on my balcony, and to create some routines of activity, which at one point in my life I might have thought were kind of ridiculous, but now I see great value in them, of mindfulness and deliberate action and choice and utilization of time, and thinking and planning ahead, and putting aside things that I don't need to have in my mind. What revealed then was PEF, plain and simple. That peaceful, easy feeling met again, though not through happenstance, but by a deliberate effort. And I know now how to get there. I know how to find my way to PEF when I want it, and I want it. There's already been enough of that heavy duty lifting and work in life. Why not? If if there's any deep resonating value in retirement, that would be it. That would be it for sure. So, and I did that yesterday. I spent a lot of time um, considering these things and doing things, and I won't. Maybe I'll save it for another time to go over the details. But I think that any of us can find our way there. I would recommend opening a chat GPT session and talking with it about it. It worked for me. The key, of course, is to ask good questions. So that was the sunrise part of my last 24 hours. Maybe sunrise isn't the right word. The fun side. The challenging side is that the situation from 2 weeks back is back. So I might wind up going back to America. I have a lot of thinking to do in the next 48 hours about strategy and decisions. There's a lot. It's a very, very complicated situation, capital S situation. Really, I don't want to say anything more about it right now. I have some thoughts to do after this. I have some talking to do with my wife. I have a phone call back to America to make head or somewhere in the midst of all of that, and have a lot of thinking to do. Going back to America might be prudent, but a number of things have to be true for that to be worthwhile. Going back has to be, first of all, perceived as using the principles in my book, utilizing reason to recognize that is the wisest and the most expedient course to achieve the ends of addressing the situation, recognizing the hashtag nature of the circumstance and the nature of the people involved, recognizing my hashtag limits and my hashtag opportunity in accordance with the objective number 6, which is to recognize true limits and true opportunities. Try to find a way to, in accordance with the objective for the good use of time. What is the best way to make good use of time? What path does hashtag maturity suggest? And of course, interspersed everywhere, lots and lots of hashtag reason, and more than a handful or two of hashtag temperance to control the emotions that might cloud my decision making or drive me to make rash decisions that might not be the best. And if you're wondering, yes, I did set up another custom GPT to help me with that. Actually, it's the same one. I have a number of different custom GPTs that I've set up for different tasks. I think of them as like helpers, interns. I sometimes refer to them as, although I wonder sometimes who the intern is and who the master is. And I have this one that's kind of risen to the surface that I talk to the most often, that is the most, because it is cumulative knowledge. I've talked to that one GPT about so many different things that it tends to understand things from a very global perspective. So yeah, I do have a custom GPT that I run these things past. had an interesting conversation with one person that's dealing with the situation as well. He's like me. He's back over in the States. He's peripherally involved with the situation, and he has his own GPT that he's been talking with about it. And we had an interesting moment 2 weeks ago where his GPT had some observations that he thought it would be good for my GPT to share. So he sent it to me, the output to give to my GPT to add to the to its understanding from that perspective. And it reminded me a whole lot of that old 1950s, 60s adage when businessmen would talk and say, have your girl call my girl and we'll arrange something, right? Or have your GPT talk to my GPT and we'll both come out more comprehensive. And the information was very helpful. Why can't if this sounds like a commercial for using using ChatGPT to help out through tricky situations, then so be it. I have no vested interest, of course, in that, but I can tell you how incredibly helpful it is to see reason and maturity um, coming through the voice, so to speak, of ChatGPT. Now, of course, tempered with the reality that it does hallucinate at times. But in this case, I'm not asking it about facts. It tends to not hallucinate when dealing with the realities of human challenges. It seems to bear well the experience that it understands through its training. It's when you ask it fact-based stuff and it doesn't know the answer that it most likely to make stuff up. Overall, the vast majority, I would say that the overwhelming majority of the time, I take what ChatGPT tells me and run it through the filter of my own reason, my own creed, and it comes out sound better than anything that I could have come up with for sure, because it's not locked in with the emotions that attend my current thinking. It's nice to have a reasonable friend, so to speak. Okay, so the situation is there and requires my attention, and it will be the main focus of today's activities. So, situation is first and foremost on my mind. All right, so as for the creed, my creed consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles as follows. The objectives are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of my time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions relative to my values, to do just one thing at a time and do the thing slowly, slowly and carefully, to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, and to maintain my balance. And I wonder if anyone caught where I stumbled there and I got the two principles, the two objectives out of order. As for what I caught myself before I fell. All right, let's read a principle. Today I'm going to read the principle called distraction. Which is, if you're reading the hardbound edition of Going Alone, this is on page 263. Let me grab my little candle here, my little antique candle holder. The principle of distraction. Sub-principle, playing in the sand. Came up with this idea, playing in the sand idea, sitting on the beach at Huntington Beach after my evening ocean swim, playing with the sand. Here's a quote, though, from Matthew Arnold. What in the course of this life, what is the course of the life of mortal men on the earth? Most men eddy about here and there, eat and drink, chatter and love and hate, gather and squander, are raised aloft, are hurled in the dusk, striving blindly, achieving nothing, and then they die, perish, and no one asks who or what they have been, more than he asks what waves in the moonlit solitudes mild of the midmost ocean have swelled, foamed for a moment, and gone. The principle of distraction is my principle to suggest that the greater measure of the activities in our lives are distractions to keep us from attending to the large question that looms before us regarding our existence and the very curious fact of being. Here we go. The principle of distraction. At every turn in life, we desire not to see. We turn our heads to look not away, but towards something which might cause us not to see. The thing we do not want is to observe the emptiness which resides behind and before and between and within it all. We do not wish to sense the negative silence of the universe's apparent vacuum of purpose. We do not want to know that death is forever, beyond a night time soon to come, which we can neither know nor avoid. And so we busy ourselves with school and work and family and friends and hobbies and interests and gossip and joy and sorrow and peace and gratitude and anxiety and angst and ecstasy and the very fact of the observance that we are alive. Anything, anything at all will do. Anything to avoid the awful aspect and great indifference of a soulless universe without God. Yet more and more, I am less inclined to fill the empty with my own fearful, distracted voice, increasingly preferring substance to filler, though substance is harder to find and still harder to hold, leaving me often with nothing at all. But I am all right with that now. I'm at last better without the distraction of life and death, which I know is not. Nevertheless, I continue to play in the sand, looking for sand, digging for sand, everywhere sand, like all of us, distracted by sand in our quest for sand. So much busyness, so much fuss and bluster, and so much restless apparent life. Almost burned out. My candle's going out. Just a second. I have these wonderful antique candle holders that I got from the antique fair. So just light these again. I love candlelight, especially with the sound of the river outside. Sorry, let me pick up my mic. I love this. I love the light, the candlelight, especially with the door open, the breeze blowing, the wind chime, and the sound of the river outside. It's quite the PEF facilitating catalyst for sure. Okay. Now, for the next 24 hours, I've already covered that. I'm going to address the situation today. 3 comments. Hello, Michael Littlejohns. Tim says, good morning. Weather check for here in the UK at 9:25 p.m. is 12.1 degrees Celsius and 95% humidity. A sunny interval day. Nice. I can barely read it. It's so dark outside, but it looks like it's about 18 degrees. Wow, it's the first time it's dropped below 20. And I'm reading about 80% humidity here. Very nice. Supposed to be 3 degrees cooler than yesterday here. Robert says hello to Michael Littlejohns, Tim, and Tim, and notes that it's currently 54 degrees Fahrenheit and 72% humidity with an air quality index of 21 in Napanee, Ontario, Canada. Wow, the air quality improved greatly since yesterday, Robert. That's wonderful. Tim says hi to Robert. Elvina. Hello, Elvina. Good afternoon and good evening from Mimico, Ontario. To Tim, our weather is very similar to yours today. We are having a sunny, cool fall day. Tim says hi to Elvina. Robert says hello to Elvina. Elvina. Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn. Says hi to myself, Michael, Tim, Elvina, and Robert. Tim says, certainly find the more I'm settled in. Certainly find the more I'm settled in retirement, the more the simplicity of life feels rewarding, and the more I feel ever more removed from alien working world. Having said that, I'm meeting some work colleagues tomorrow. Tim, I wonder how that'll go. Will it be like, no, wonder what that'll be like. Let us know. There's Ray. Good morning to you, Ray. Ray says good morning to me and says that it's 14 degrees C, 70% humidity, and surprisingly no rain. Nice. Robert says hi to Ray. Ray says hi to Robert and everyone. Sistel / Zero Cyrus. Sistel, I think aren't you from Discord? I think I know you from Discord. Hi everyone, been busy. Hope all have been well. This is Crystal, by the way, on a different account. Okay, Crystal, okay. And Crystal, do you go by Sister? Is that you on Discord by the same name? Sometimes I'm slow to put these things together. Elvina says, Kurt, you obviously have important decisions to make, and I'm sure that you will make the best one for your family and yourself. I'll try. Thank you. I appreciate that observation and well wishes, Elvina. Hello, Claude. Good morning. I would tap into the savings on this rainy day. Nest eggs do have expiration dates. Have a great week. Good luck with the virtual class. Gambate kudasai. Virtual class. Hmm. Thank you, Claude. I appreciate that, and I hope you have a good day as well. Uh, Robert says hello to Sistel, Crystal, Crystal, and Claude. Tim says it must be quite taxing being in a slightly unknown limbo whether you need to go back to the USA. I imagine it's not an entirely comfortable feeling, so I hope the decision comes your way sooner. Thank you. It's the kind of thing that's I would have made the decision sooner, but I was asked by parties involved back in the USA to wait, which is an important piece of the puzzle, right? Because other people have their agency and their decisions and their circumstance and help that is pressed upon one when not wanted or requested is not help that's appreciated or can be easily facilitated. Yet at the same time, there might come a point where such help may be necessary, whether the person wants it or not. Right? It's tricky working that out rather than comes your way sooner. And Tim says sooner rather than later. Thank you. Crystal says we can only prepare so much. I say take things day by day, but cautiously until more stability comes your way. Thank you. Yeah, good point about the stability. Good point about everything there. Tim says meeting two work colleagues for lunch. Kind of hope they don't discuss work too much. Oh, they will though, right? There's always the here's what's happened since that, and it's hard not to get pulled into the gossip of that, right? And wind up talking about other people who aren't there. And but good. I hope it goes well. Let us know how it goes, Tim. Crystal says yes. I'm on Discord too. Crystal sounds like Sissel, nickname from childhood. Zero Chris is like Zero Chris, if it makes sense. I know it's confusing. Okay, but I think I know it now that you're Crystal by any other name, right? And it's good now to put the connection between the crystal here and the crystal I know on Discord. Just a flesh wound. Hey, just a flesh wound. Well, it's the first time I've seen your name here, and that's a name I would remember. It's good to see you. This is Robert on my Monty Python themed account. It's just a flesh wound. Got it. That's Robert in Canada. You're on two accounts. Did you switch accounts? Is that because we have another Robert? Believe in yourself. Is that the same Robert? Evelyn says, after all, my services aren't needed for my nephew's 7-year horror show right now. But staying far away is not easy either. It might be good for you to go. Evelyn, you brought up, and Robert says hi to Evelyn. You brought up an interesting point, one that's been on my mind. And it's not because I don't want to go, but sometimes help can be rendered. There's kind of different kinds of help, right? There's the help of the immediate help of helping out with the practical stuff that requires physical lifting, right? Then there's the help of the rationale and reasonable thinking and the decision making, right? Um, the first one, of course, requires the immediate close quarters. The second one can be sometimes better attended from afar, but this is where the balance is, right? Deciding when and how and if to go back, and the all important question of the agency of those that are involved, and knowing when that agency is lacking, and I might have to step in, which will be very challenging. It's good, I guess, that I don't have, you know, a lot of things pulling my attention, work and kid and other responsibilities. I can focus on this. Ray says, hello, have a wonderful day to myself and everyone. Thank you. And Robert says, bye to Ray. All right, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to sign off for now and do some more deliberation. Yumiko is still asleep. The dogs are still asleep. Um, Today's journal entry, which I already wrote, I write that. I always get up at 4 a.m. Every day, and I write my journal entry for the morning at 4 a.m. It's what I've been doing for a long time, forever. I got up at 4 a.m. in the past because I had to go to work, and then I would sneak in my journal entry first thing in the morning. I don't have to go to work anymore, but I still get up early by force of habit. Also, the mind seems very clear and clean and crisp and sharp, and words just flow. And it's my season of philosophy early in the morning. But the journal entry this morning was about the fact that I wake up and I look across the meadow here, and there's houses across the meadow, and there's two houses that will have their lights on, two old men in their houses, and I wonder why they're up at 4 a.m. too. Maybe it's force of habit. Maybe they're attending to something. Maybe it's a little of both. Crystal says, journaling is so good for the soul. I hope everyone has a good day. Thank you, Crystal. Elvina says, have a wonderful day to me. And I wish you and everybody a wonderful day. Be safe, but not too safe, everybody. I'll be in my office hours at 10 o'clock if anyone cares to join. See you in Discord, maybe. Take care. Bye-bye. You too, Tim. Thank you.